All right, can everyone hear me?
Yes, yes.
All right, this is our weekly Black Land Ownership meeting. I am trying to be more consistent in doing these every Tuesday, 7 p.m. And it will give people a chance to ask questions, give us updates, for us to give you updates, and to hold us to task. Because in 2024, I'm talking too much shit to not have meetings and organizing. I need to actually keep a schedule. So thank y'all. So first up, so Ryan, you're moving out of that, so we're gonna talk about that. Uh Nick, you spent some time upstate already, and you and I have kind of talked. Melissa and I have some things going on. But this is good. This is a nice little group of folks. Ryan, you want to update us? Where the hell are you moving?
Well, nothing's set in stone yet, but the plan is to move up to the Yukon Territory in Canada. Yeah, still filling out paperwork for that. Just regardless, I need to get away from New York and get away from the urban jungle as it is, and be around some more mountains and some sky. So yeah, that's what's up.
Well, so we were asking people last week what they see their interest being. Like some folks, like Tori was talking about, like way in the future when we all are old, having a place to be. She wants to be in New York right now. Other people want to get into investment. Other people, like myself, are like one foot in, one out. Like I need to kind of be in the city, but also I need to get away from the city at times and the conservation stuff. Other people want to farm. What are your interests in the outdoors, or what would you see yourself kind of gravitating towards, do you think?
I mean, I kind of want to do everything, which is like not a great place to start or a great place to start. Um, but I guess first and foremost, just learn what I heard they call bushcraft, and just gain some skills that are not that are more than just playing music, and like knowing exactly where to sit on the subways so I don't have to walk farther to get to the staircase. Right now, that's a skill set. Um, and yeah, just like learn how to the proper way to chop it. I mean, I'm really good at tending a fire. That's like one thing I've already got really. I can build a fire. I can start a fire. I mean, I'm still using a lighter, but like, I don't think we're gonna go so far back where I need to clip stones together. So I can do a. I can cook things on fire. But yeah, I don't really know anything else. So that's where I'd like to start. And ideally, like, thank you, love. Um, ideally, like, put shit in the ground and get shit from it.
Yeah.
Jenny, uh, hunting is big up there. So like whether, I'd love to go hunting, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna get anything. But regardless, if I get something, I want to there's people hunting and there's like fresh game that you can buy.
We can definitely like pick berries and
Oh yeah, this is the most interesting thing actually. It's like normal for people to have like a secret berry patch where she's from, and like you just don't tell anyone about your berry patch. And I was like, oh, like your berry patch on your land. And she's like, no, like people will, go hiking and they'll shit be on other people's land. There's like a patch of berries. You just don't tell people about it. And that's where you go. People legit gather, what is it? Blueberries, cranberries, and there's like a bunch of different things they used to make tea, like spruce tips. There's a bunch of like there's a company up there that does it's called, what are they called, Harvest Tea? Yeah. And basically all their teas are things they and people they hire harvest in the area Jenny's from and that we'd like to move to. So yeah, like hunting and gathering is an actual way of life up there. So yeah, I just want to get into that, man. You're muted. Oh, Zoom.
All right. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Now, Nick, what are your interests, or what brings you to the Black Land Ownership gathering?
Yeah, I mean, I love the cause. I love the idea of going and being in nature. Someday would love to have more intimate relationship to land myself. Uh, also in a like a more pragmatic thing, I'm really into trying to build tech that is useful to you. And oh yeah, and I saw your Instagram post that you guys are trying to buy like a saw. I thought that was super cool.
It's
Yeah.
happening. It's happening. We are going to do it without
Oh
the
yeah.
hook and crook part, but hell or high water, we're gonna do it. You know.
I love that. Yeah, because I'm definitely about like, you know, reclaiming the means in whatever ways. And uh I spend so much time in the software world, which is kind of sad because I want to be in the physical world. So I love that you're taking that approach. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that, Melissa.
What's the question, Chris? Why am I here?
No, the question for
Uh,
you would be, now that we have purchased the conservation property, we have purchased the Eco Hub and are starting to work on that. We have gotten ourselves partway through enrollment in a USDA program. We have the two properties in Arkansas and the wetlands in Mississippi. What excites you about this coming year, or like where do you want to direct focus?
I would well, the sawmill is one area I'd like to direct focus and um building out the eco hub and getting better with creating our own materials and definitely the gardening aspect. We had a really good start last year with the garden and being able to feed more people and get more food from the garden is definitely something I learned a lot last year. So I'm super into that. Being able to this year hopefully build a small little cabin, you know? Um, and then in doing that, learning how to do that and like being able to share plans and ideas with other people who might be interested in that. I think doing more camping on the land and learning a lot more about tree identification and the dendrology aspect of it all and how that can help because I was really intrigued. We took a walk on the land with it was a guy who was talking to us about trees because he was taking down some trees on a nearby property and gave us his card because he had already built a path through to our land, which is kind of hard to get to at the top, but he also was very knowledgeable and about trees and studied dendrology and had all these tools at his, disposal. So it was really cool learning about that with him.
Awesome, awesome, Pound. Um, for me to answer the question, I will say all of the above and summer camp for adults. The idea that we're going to have people come up, we're going to have organized activities, and we're also going to have loosely organized activities. And then we'll have the regular, like whoever comes up whenever they want kind of technique. But I'm excited to have some of that organized element. And when we did the Cobb oven building, one of the coolest parts was seeing no one knew each other basically. Like it wasn't a thing where we had our friends take the course or we had worked with the guy before. It was basically a guy Melissa had found online. He has a set of students. Those students don't really know each other. And then we have our space. So it was like me, Melissa, and one or two people we knew. The 7 or 8 students where like two were couples, so like they kind of knew each other, but there were little pockets. Then the guy himself, he knew like 2 or 3 people because of the assistants, but there were all these like individuals that had to work together over the course of 4 or 5 days. And you wake up, eat breakfast together, you work together, you have lunch together, you work together, you have dinner together, and then people do whatever they want. And that was really dope. And it was much different than when I've traveled or like kind of done things similarly where you go to South by and it's like, all right, we're gonna do this. But it's also a big city and people taking cabs and mopeds and getting drunk and doing all this other stuff. With this, it was like you can't go anywhere. I mean, you can, but it's closed. Like after 8 p.m. Like it's you. So even during free time, we ended up kind of exploring together, either on the property or sitting around talking. We had fire, we had a jam session, what have you. And so I'm kind of excited to see what we can do with summer camp for adults and have like things come from it. I usually am not in a what do they call that? Like an actionable item or like something where you leave a meeting and you're like, I'll go do something. And I feel like I've accomplished everything. Like I do want to have some elements like that. So when we have the music one, people will leave with a song or EP done. You know, when we do the film one, people will leave with a something done that they can showcase or present to other people. When we do the get familiar with the waterways, we'll help people get comfortable with learning how to swim if they don't already know how, with reacclimating if they haven't had the opportunity to swim in, you know, decades or years, what have you. Canoeing, same thing, so that it won't be like merit badges, but I'm gonna have little like, you know, we did the damn thing kind of scenarios. And so I'm excited. I'm just happy to be out there and see what's gonna happen. Yeah. Now, are there any questions about the intro or with just this beginning section?
Sounds amazing.
I asked before, but are there any activities you would want to, you would want to participate in or make sure that we have you like kind of in mind when we're scheduling, or any things you all would like to lead? Like, would you want to do a music thing? Would you want to do a philosophical, you know, discussion for 3 hours? Do you want to do a silent meditation? Like, what is on your minds?
I was thinking, this doesn't have to be an eco hub. It could be, well, I guess Gamba is soon to be not. But as someone who started watching a bunch of YouTube videos on how to shoot on manual, it could be cool if you got a bunch of like beginner-esque photographers on the land using the land as the subject for photography, you know, just going basically, yeah, a photography class in nature. That's my idea. I thought of it right now.
Funny you would say that. Melissa, do you happen to have the note I sent you earlier? Could you put that in the chat? We want to do probably 3 photo sessions.
Okay.
One or two in the spring when everything's blooming and when like you're gonna get all the colors of the fresh life. Then one in the fall, probably after Summerfest, like closer to like October, November, when you get all the tree colors and it gets orange and red and gold. Shout out to Mathum. And so we will be doing that. Would you want to lead a music class or some type of music activity since you have experience doing such?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. I'll make sure we talk more about that.
Yeah.
Nick, what are your thoughts or interests?
Yeah, I mean, definitely want to be a part of the music, for sure. I like teaching music theory if people like want to do that. Um, but yeah, I mean, down with whatever. Yeah, just would love to be a part of it. Um, on a non-music note, I've mentioned the idea to you about trying to figure out like mesh network stuff. I don't know what you want your relationship with the digital world to be like up there, so I don't want to like bring that in if that's not in the realm of stuff you're interested in. But um if it is something that would be really useful up there, then it's not something I've done a whole lot of research in, but I have done a bit in my time, and so I could get fresh on that and try to figure some of that stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, we want hardwire cabling for everything, so it can't be tapped, and so we can avoid the kind of radiation waves or what have you. But since that's
Yeah.
virtually impossible where we are, we currently use our phones as hotspots, and it is not popping. So if we could figure out a mesh network, or even like in having the discussion and talking with folks about why we're paying for things we pay for when we can somewhat provide it for each other. I think people feel that. Like when I was talking to the homie about getting the chainsaw sharpened, he's like, "Why are you taking it to get sharpened?" I'm like, "Because I need to get it sharpened." And he's like, "No, no. Why are you taking it somewhere? Why aren't you doing it yourself? Why don't you have me do it? Why are you going to go pay some person at a store to do the same thing that either one of us could do?" And he wasn't like, "You're being cheap if you do that." You know how there are folks in the city who are like, if I'm
Right.
like, "I'm going to wash my own clothes," they're like, "Peasant," you know. And so I think there's more an idea of like, oh, mesh network, that could be interesting, and a lot of room for growth when it comes to technological adoption, because people still don't fuck with Venmo. Like people are still like,
Right.
what, phone technology, money? No. And
Yeah.
there are other people who are like, I'd like to do that stuff, but no one around here can help teach me, you know?
Yeah. That's super interesting. Yeah. Yeah. The non-radiation part, would definitely suggest a different approach because mesh it's gonna be something. I mean, I don't know what the details are, but yeah.
I mean, I was kind of being hyperbolic, but
Okay.
also that's for the next level of when we have the full cob concrete dome that is totally impervious to any type of signals. And then that's when we're in the cut where you have to throw up
That's
a smoke signal, hit the war drum from 500 miles away, because none of the other shit's gonna work. Melissa, what are your
wow.
thoughts on the space being more or less technologically connected?
Oh, I mean, I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm probably like less technologically connected just because we're so connected in the city. It's kind of nice to have that reprieve. But I'm not saying it's not a value or that there aren't times where it would be nice to be able to set things up. It's just for me personally, I'm right now into the less connected.
Kind
And
of along.
also the because I think that a really important part about the adult summer camp part is like, there is a thing about like you go to summer camp and part of the thing is like there's some discomfort because you're not connected to other things anymore. You are in nature and you are going, making fires and growing your own food or picking your food out of the garden and learning how to clean it and going up to the and not being able to you still have internet up there, like you can use your hotspot. There's a co-op that's like 3 miles down the road that has high-speed internet, so it's not like it's nothing there, but it's nice to not turn to the internet for everything. Or if some people, it's kind of nice not having amazing service. If we have good service, but if people don't have it, that's also good. Or like if you go up into the woods to a certain point and you're camping, it's nice to be totally out of that loop.
Yeah.
So that's me. I mean, I'm getting better at just letting go of the phone. That's one of my like big things. And so I'm hoping when I'm up there and especially with all the people and community we're gonna have around, it'll be even easier. Um, so yeah. Chris and I were just talking about getting flip phones.
I
Yeah,
love flip
yeah.
phones.
I found, amongst other things, a bag of old cell phones. Some of them are mine, some of my mom's. And out of the five, one of them has to work. And if it does, I'm gonna figure out. I just have to figure out if you can get the same phone number to two different phones, so that I can leave one at home, take the other one when I want, and it not be trap phone and work phone. But anyway, in terms of the balance of city to technology, how are y'all feeling about that? Like in terms of us planning these activities, how hard do you think we should go with this isn't the city? Like, should we have certain events where there's no computers after a certain time or before a certain time? Should we have stuff? I know someone wants to do a silent retreat. I don't know if I can be silent for 2 or 3 days. Like that's antithetical to who I am as a human and sounds horrifying. But is that something that we should start doing, and like kind of go extreme in the sense of we have like a half a mountain behind us, we have 20 something acres. Let's do camping where like we don't go in the house for 2 days and like we up on the land on the top part for 2 days. I just don't know what people's tolerance is for it, and I'm kind of on adventure time.
I mean, I love that. I love the at least the boundary of like not before or after these hours or not in this space or something. I think those are really nice. And being a camp counselor, we had those boundaries, even though there was internet around. It was like you can only use it in this one little enclosed space. And that was like one way of dealing with it. That was it was nice for the expectation to be like, no one's got a cell phone out.
See how amazing this is. Just quick gym you dropped being a camp counselor. So what do I need to prepare for? I forgot we have a person who's worked in camps for like years upstate. So yeah, how do you wrangle? Because all right, when I throw shows, this is between us or whoever sees this. It's not rude, but when I plan shows before, when people were partying heavy, the whole thing was humans act like orangutans or small children that are way too strong. So
Right.
you have to keep them safe, and they don't know how to read, and they will hurt themselves inadvertently. I've kind of stepped away, and I'm kind of like on the Hawaii mode of like, if you see the cliff and fall off of it, it's kind of your fault. I can't do that when we're hosting people. I
Right.
have to like keep it in mind. So what we need to keep in mind, or what are things you've learned that we should hold as best practices, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the camp system was pretty simple, I think, in that it was just like, I mean, it was I think, I don't know what the relative size is of that camp to your space, or y'all's space, but, it was like the main area where the thing is happening, everyone's pretty much there, and the other areas are you have one or two people supervising at a time, uh, which, is especially important with kids, like, kids. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's just about being in the same place and maybe like a buddy system or something, I don't think, and then, if you're going to a water area, there's like the water stuff. It's like you have a lifeguard on duty and there's like the specific Red Cross regulations around like you have to do this thing where you're like scanning the water and have a couple people at particular vantage points to get the full degree coverage, whatever kind of thing. Um, and yeah, regular meal times definitely helps. And they also, the huge thing, and this kind of goes to your wardroom idea, is like they had a bell, which is really an orienting thing, in terms of like getting people to the same place at the same time and creating a division where like even if someone's off over there, you hear the bell and okay, this was this second bell of the day, it's lunchtime. And so everyone shows up. So that kind of system is really helpful. But I think, yeah, that's kind of the thing.
We had a bell system when we did the natural building workshop where we had 3 meals a day and we always rang a bell at the start of the meal, and that did help actually. But
That's amazing.
other than that, I mean, I feel like, well, I'll be interested to hear how far Chris is I mean, I wasn't thinking about there being actual adult counselors because I certainly don't want to be a counselor personally. But I thought like the adult summer camp means like there isn't necessarily counselors, but there's sort of leaders of leaders like experts who come in to showcase work, and we're all there to engage. But anyway, we'll see what Chris thinks. If he's picturing some like thigh high socks and little 70s shorts and like people running around with whistles, I will have to talk. But that's funny.
Now,
See your
I
ceiling,
love
Chris.
I love how you just projected your interest in you being in
That's
little
not my
blue
interest.
shorts and thigh-high socks and running around on the land prancing. Thank you very much for that, because I wasn't going to think of it. I that helps. Thank
I
you.
did picture you doing that with your long legs, yes.
Now, me, don't worry about my summer outfits. It's going to be something serious this year. But I'm up for a reasonable amount of oversight, in the sense of, if we're going to invite people up to learn how to swim, then someone there should be able to help people if they run into trouble. Now, I'm a very experienced swimmer, but I would want someone who's at least been a lifeguard at some point, like certified, to be there for that session.
I am certified, by the way.
There we go. See? Um, then when it comes to stuff like camping, I think buddy systems or not counselors or not like people who are given some arbitrary like means of exerting power, but people that are comfortable saying, I've had more familiarity, I've had more experience. Uh, if you get confused, I may be able to help kind of scenarios, if that makes sense. Is that close in line with what you'd be comfortable with, Melissa, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. I was thinking when you said the silent retreat, I'm like, I would be interested in going to a silent retreat, but I would not be interested in being in charge at a silent retreat. I do not like that idea. I'm just picturing a bunch of silent adults who are doing things they're not supposed to do, and I have no way to tell them that they can't do that. So that's just really problematic. But yes, I think it's important to have people there with oversight, but I also think it's really simple. Now, most of the time, I think it's pretty simple, and like we definitely saw this with the natural building workshop to put really clear set of rules out from day one, make sure everybody understands them and that they're like posted somewhere, and then you don't really have to address much. Um, and then of course there are people there to help with questions or curiosities, or if you're in need of support in some activity or whatnot. But um I like people kind of, that's part of the thing for me is like, this is adult summer camp. Like, here are the clear rules. There's not that many, but they're really important. Let's, uh, let's make sure we stick to these.
Yeah, I
Um,
really vibe with that as a camp counselor, just setting boundaries at the beginning. And then with the kids thing, like, kids, it's like they will test the boundaries also. There's probably something you would not encounter with like people you know and love who are adults coming into that space. But yeah.
Yeah.
and I guess part of how I'm thinking of the oversight is more protective than punitive or like saying people are breaking rules or not, but more so like I want people in a certain way to know that if they've never been in the woods, they're not alone out there. Like if they're trying to set up their tent, there may be a session where we look at them like, figure it out. It's on you. But there may be other times where it's like, if you've never done this, there are people that can help you or who've already said that they're down to kind of be little like trail leaders or, some folks, I think, like when I first started going up in the woods, I was really afraid a bear would come out. We found bear poop. And now that I've been up there so many times, I know like, dog, it's not. Like I've talked to people who they work taking trees down every day and they've never had a bear run up on them. But I now believe that because I've been out there a lot. But I didn't believe that in the first 2 months, and so that's also what I'm thinking of, like the oversight of the counselors, if that makes sense.
For sure.
Now we were going to launch a Kickstarter. I'm moving on to the next thing. I should have an agenda for this thing, but I hate agendas and it makes me think of work. But I do have an agenda in my mind. We were going to do a Kickstarter, and I told Melissa about it, and I changed my mind. I don't want to advertise any other websites when we're talking about ourselves. I only want to tell people go to our website. And I had a moment of weakness. I was betrayed by my own idea that other people do it better than us. And instead of doing a Kickstarter, I still want to do a thing where if we don't raise the full amount of money, we give people their money back. So I gotta, maybe Nick, you and I have to talk about like tech wise how we can do that so we just don't get killed on fees if we have to send people their money back and they pay PayPal or we have to track it, whatever. But we need to get the sawmill, and it's the most ridiculously fantastic idea I've had, not in a good way, like, oh, it's smart, but like in a, why would we do that? Like 5 years ago, someone was like, you're gonna get a sawmill. Like, you sound crazy as hell. But Melissa, what are some of the things we want to build that this sawmill will help us build?
Well, we want to build little cabins, especially one to start, just so we figure out what it's like. But I mean, basically, the way I've explained this to people is anytime you want to build something, wood is extremely expensive, and the other materials that you could use outside of like found materials or whatnot, but the other you know, like if you wanted to, like, I don't want to use drywall like up in the woods, you know, we want to use natural materials that are sturdy, that come from our land, that are, you know, part of the ecosystem of the area. And so we can build cabins, we can build platforms, we can build tree houses. It also allows us to do a lot of work just around the house as well, like finish, you know, we kind of want the whole house to be kind of raw wood and kind of interesting in that way, like log cabiny. So we can just pick a spot in the house and start redoing it with wood. Trying to think of other things we've talked about building that I'm losing. I can't remember at the moment. But mostly,
Outdoor sauna / shower.
oh yeah, outdoor sauna. Oh, outdoor shower. Yep, sauna, little bathhouses. You can just build even just like really cool little garden shacks or kind of private work areas. So if people come up and it might not be all closed in, but they're able to have their own little, you know, three-walled kind of platform area to create. There's just so many unique things you can do. Bridges. Chris built his first bridge recently out of wood. But yeah, it helps to
Very
be
small
able
bridge.
to what?
Very small bridge. Yes, yes, I did that.
It's a tiny bridge, but that's really cool. Um, Boats eventually, but that's maybe later down the line. I would like to eventually, with Black land ownership, have a uh, boatyard and build wooden boats.
Hold on, hold on, hold on,
That's
hold on,
so
hold on
cool.
now. Now, y'all aren't ready for the Chisels and Ginger regatta, but everyone has to make their own boats. So it's actually just going to be us trying not to drown. But one of us will actually at some point make a cool ass boat. And whether it's taking an outboard motor and putting it on a raft, whether it's like people coming up some wind turbine, propeller, bike pedal system, we want it. Just give us a couple years, okay? I'm telling y'all, this is just the beginning. Like, if y'all remember how the parties went when you were like, yeah, it's cool, y'all rapping, and then all of a sudden it was costumes and decorations, and we turned the thing into the thing and the thing, and then I was like, I'm not doing that no more. That is, it's there. It's just now boat races out on the lake. Melissa, there's something else we needed to build. We have to build an enclosure for the sawmill, actually, so that it doesn't get snowed and rained on.
Mhm.
And a storage space for lumber. If you all end up with some
Like
time,
a barn. I want to build a barn. Why can't we call it that?
we can call it whatever you like. Yeah.
I'd much rather talk about a barn than an enclosure or a storage space. Yeah, that's fun.
A barn, I like it.
Okay.
Open air barn or fully closed in?
Sure, whatever. Open air is fine.
I kind of like the idea of a place where we can stay, like when it's raining,
Yeah.
but still warm out, where we can be basically fully outside while it's raining and still enjoy it.
Oh, and I found really simple blueprint for a little one-room house like we want to build.
Which brings us to the schoolhouse. I don't know if it will be in the cabin or if we convert one of the outdoor buildings, but I got the one room schoolhouse inspired by Tuskegee University and was that Booker T. Washington? Is something on the agenda. I don't know how many years it's going to take, and I don't know where it will be on the property or if it'll be on a different property.
Might be
But
on a different property too, but it might start on our property.
you know, but the idea of that one room building where all different types of classes take place, all different types of learning, and with mobile instructors. And so we want to build that though. We want to do it like how Booker T. Washington is, like they had to make their own bricks to build their own buildings in order to have their own school. That's the type of thing I am trying to reintegrate into our livelihoods.
That's amazing.
And it's funny, look at all, you're an educator, and you're an educator. This is amazing. This is more staff than like other schools started with, by the way. I'm just letting y'all know. Just letting y'all know. All right, any other questions? Because I have to pack and get ready to go. Were there any other kind of questions, ideas, or things people wanted to put out to us? I have one more that I just remembered, but go ahead.
This is not specifically Black land ownership. This is actually specifically Gamba related. I can go ahead. Okay. Regarding the one room schoolhouse, I know it's time's running out, but like, I don't know, what's your age limit for children? Because I was thinking, yeah, I was doing my baby music classes in Astoria, but I don't know anyone in Astoria. I know people in, I don't know what your part of Brooklyn's called, but I know more people around there. But I don't know if you had like a thing about, young children being in there.
We already have young children in there for our music classes. But I'm totally open to that. Let's see what Chris says.
Yeah, we could talk about it. Yeah. I think Chris,
Is Chris there?
he's there, but he's quiet.
Yeah. I'm down. Like, we already have young folks in there, and we less and less frequently have stuff going on, and so it's the more people can use it, the better.
All right, let's talk about doing like a Saturday afternoon or something. So we can get some parents and their babies in there.
Yeah, that would be dope. And we don't close till the 1st of July. So I think we're going to do a Juneteenth block party. I think we
Awesome.
want to do a closing party at the end of the month and then roll that into 4th of July where we'll head up. We'll do the closing thing, make sure we get all shit out, and then head up to the land and celebrate 4th of July up there, independence,
Cool. I like it. Cool.
Yeah. But I'm definitely into talking about that, Ryan. I couldn't hear what you all said there, but that's just my feedback. And I'm gonna jump out now. Chris, or is everyone jumping out, or?
Yeah,
Looks
there's
like-
just one thing that I'd want you to hear, Melissa.
Okay, what's that?
Something we have not done, and I'm not saying it needs to happen immediately, but I would in the coming year want to put together a group of people where we actually buy something together, and whether it's something that's only a $3,000 plot in Mobile, Alabama, that could be a community garden, or just like we try to sell to the neighbor, but as a way for people to get the experience of here's what happens when you purchase property out of state that you're not going to live on or in the near future, but to where the risk is if this all goes upside down, it's such a minimal amount of money that no one's going to be mad at anyone. Everyone involved will take it seriously, but also know that like, yo, it's not enough money to start acting up and shit like that, but just learn the process so that it's more comfortable with the larger sums of money.
I love that so much.
I'm down.
And we can
I'm
try,
up with that.
and that gives us a chance to try some of the collective ownership models. I saw something online now to where the guys, Acre Boys, have buying kind of group where basically they offer deals to their members and their members get dividends, blah, blah. I think they're all going to get arrested for securities fraud, and that none of these people understand how like investing actually works legally. So we are not going to be doing pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing, real estate investment trust that isn't one, like none of that shit.
Good.
All right.
Thanks for the invite, man.
Yeah.
And do these every week at 7. My homegirl down in Texas just hit me. She's selling her house and is like, I've been thinking about land give back programs, and what are y'all doing with Black land ownership? And I was like, come to the meeting. And so like hopefully these will continue to grow, and we'll be getting some folks in different parts of the country also, so that we get insight into what's happening around the nation.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.